It seems with every new Wes Anderson release, there's always a discourse that claims he's become a parody of himself, and already I've seen people talk these very same things about his new film, Asteroid City. However, I think a more accurate description would be that with every new release of his, including this one, this is simply Wes turning his style on to the maximum, because he has the resources to do so at this point in his career, and I can only really commend him for that. Asteroid City, his new film, follows a group of characters in an American desert town in the mid-1950s who attend a Junior Stargazers and Space Cadets convention that's ultimately interrupted by an alien visitor. I don't think that's really a spoiler since it's alluded to in the trailer, but on the subject of such, that's all I'll really say about that. As someone who's seen a couple of 1950s sci-fi films, the whole film feeling like a homage to that genre is really cool to see. It was an aspect that really added to my enjoyment of the film. That's not to say it's filled with millions of references to these types of movies, it's more so just obviously inspired by a handful. Another great thing about this movie is that probably in around 90% of this movie is real. In this modern age of cinema, we are bombarded with CGI slop, so to see Wes stick to his guns and go all out practical for this movie is really appreciated, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect anything less. And I do mean nearly everything is real. Certain backdrops that would mostly just be used in the background are all models. The whole town was a set the crew had to build. There's moments of stop motion, which in fairness has nearly become a Wes staple in itself due to the fact he's made 2 feature-length stop-motion films. There's even a use of puppetry, and to me, insisting on using this much practicality is so great to still see happening. It's one of the reasons I respect the hell out of a director like Nolan, since he opts to do the same.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
The acting in this film is great. It features your usual quirky, offbeat acting from everyone in it. I can't really say what his role is, but the inclusion of Bryan Cranston's character was really cool to me. He felt like he was embodying one Rod Sterling, and I have no clue if it was intentional or not. Maybe if you see the movie for yourself, you can decide that. Steve Carell was great to see in this movie too. His role was originally meant to be played by Bill Murray, a very frequent collaborator of Wes Anderson, but he wasn't able to do the shooting at the time. He got COVID, and honestly, I don't think they could have chosen a better replacement. Steve Carell already has this quirkiness to his comedic timing that fits so naturally in a Wes Anderson joint, and every moment he was on screen, I couldn't help being filled with joy. This movie, in general, radiates joy, and it's incredibly funny. Usually a lot of Wes's movies present this inner darkness under all the pretty colors. There will be sometimes pretty fucked up themes that almost get distracted by how saturated everything surrounding it is. In this movie, there's none of that to a degree. However, I do feel like there is maybe always a hint of something dark, but there's never a point where they decide to go for it fully. It's just a fun movie, and I know that gets thrown around a lot, almost like an excuse. Usually if a movie is bad, people will excuse it being like, oh well, it's at least it's fun, like fuck off. But no, this one is genuinely just a fun time and a good time. I can't really see anyone disliking this unless you're pretentious fuck, obviously. I don't feel the need to comment on cinematography or the film style because you're going into a Wes Anderson movie, you know what you're getting into, but if I'm obligated to, it's Wes Anderson, so of course at the helm of the camera we had Robert D. Yeoman, I probably butchered that name so I apologize, as this film's director of photography, and sure enough makes every frame of this film look so incredibly gorgeous with trademark shots like your pans and your tracking shots that all look fucking lovely. This film's gotta be the most saturated Wes Anderson film. I mean, the saturation levels are one to rival fucking Fortnite. It's so damn colorful, but it's not a bad thing. Like, it doesn't give me a headache watching it. If anything, it keeps me glued to the screen, so count that as some sort of childhood wonder. But I mean, what do you expect when you're watching a Wes Anderson film, you know? It's like the best way to describe his movies. Is it his best film? Not by a long shot, but is it his worst? Absolutely not in the fucking slightest. I've yet to see Bottle Rocket myself, but from everything I've seen this man makes, I've no doubt in my mind that the man cannot make a bad movie. I don't think Wes has it in him to produce utter shite. Hopefully I'm not jinxing anything by saying that, but I doubt he can make a bad movie. It's hard for me to talk about the negatives in this movie without spoiling it, and believe me, there's very few fucking negatives. But all I'll say is this movie tries its hand at being meta, because that's the big thing nowadays, isn't it? We're all completely socially self-aware of ourselves and of cinema as a whole. Now, this movie doesn't handle its meta angle in a bad or annoying way, but it can be a bit distracting at times, even if it is is the point of the movie when these things get brought up. It is the first time Wes has done something like this. I just hope this doesn't develop a turn where he carefully will deconstruct his next film to its whole extent, because Jesus, that would be fucking weird to see. Overall, this film is great, and it's the type of films you should be seeing in cinemas, because believe me, with the usual schlop that comes out, you could be doing so much worse. It's just a really fun time. If you go in feeling good, you'll come out feeling great. And if you're feeling like shit, I'd say watching this will evenly lift your spirits, you know, if you're not a little bitch. I'm giving Asteroid City 4.5 stars. This might change down the line if I rewatch all of Wes Anderson's films in succession after another, but this is in around what I'd give some of his better films anyway. Maybe I'll do a ranking one day. Who knows? Tell me if you want to see that, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching this review, and subscribe to the channel. That would be great. Subscribe so I don't have to get a real job.